What if the real villain of Game of Thrones wasn't Cersei, wasn't the Night King, and wasn't Daenerys Targaryen, but Bran Stark himself? Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're diving into one of the most controversial, spine-chilling, and fascinating theories in the entire fandom, that Bran the Broken wasn't a victim of fate, but the architect of it. Stick around, because by the end of this, you might start seeing Westeros' quietest boy in a much darker light. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, because we're about to unravel one of the greatest mysteries the show left us with. And I want you to tell me in the comments, was Bran Stark the true villain of Game of Thrones? Let's get into it. When we first meet Bran, he's innocent, the curious little boy climbing towers at Winterfell, wide-eyed and full of life. But in the very first episode, his fate changes forever. He falls from a tower, or rather, he's pushed, and loses the use of his legs. That moment sets him on a path that's both tragic and mystical, because Bran's story isn't about losing mobility, it's about gaining omnipotence. Through his connection with the three-eyed raven, Bran begins to see the world differently, past, present, future, all at once. But as his powers grow, so does his detachment from humanity. The boy who once dreamed of being a knight becomes something else entirely, something ancient, cold, and godlike. Here's where things start getting weird. The three-eyed raven tells Bran that he will never walk again, but he will fly. That line wasn't just metaphorical, it foreshadowed Bran's transformation into someone who could slip between time, possess animals and people, and possibly even alter history. We see glimpses of this when he wargs into Hodor, forcing him to hold the door, an act that simultaneously happens in the past and present. It's a terrifying moment because it suggests that Bran's power isn't just observation, it's control. Hodor's entire life, his very name, was shaped by Bran's interference. If Bran could cause that, what else could he change? Fans started noticing how Bran's actions often led to tragedy. He didn't warn anyone about the Red Wedding, though he supposedly saw visions of it. He didn't stop Theon's betrayal or the fall of Winterfell. Instead, he seemed to watch it all unfold. When Arya returns, he greets her with eerie detachment. When Jon returns, he tells him, "You're a Stark." Sort of. It's like Bran already knows how the pieces will move, and he never lifts a finger to stop the pain, because maybe pain was part of the plan. Then comes the Night King, the great existential threat of the entire series. We're led to believe that Bran and the Night King are cosmic opposites, ice versus memory, death versus life. But what if they're not enemies, but reflections of one another? Some theories suggest that Bran's repeated attempts to stop the creation of the Night King in the past may have caused him to become the Night King in another timeline. In other words, Bran's interference could have created the very evil he was trying to destroy. Whether or not you buy that theory, there's no denying the eerie parallels between them. Both can command the dead. Both are silent, emotionless beings who seem to exist outside of time. And when the Night King finally dies, Bran's face remains blank, almost satisfied. Now think about how the final season positions him. Everyone else is fighting, dying, bleeding for survival, and Bran just sits there in the Godswood, eyes rolled back, warging into crows. What was he doing? Scouting, guiding Arya, or was he ensuring events unfolded exactly as he foresaw them? Because Arya's sudden, precise kill wasn't luck, it felt orchestrated. Someone led her there at the perfect moment. Someone who could see every possibility. Someone who wanted the Night King gone, but on his terms. And after the war, Bran doesn't mourn, he doesn't celebrate, he doesn't even seem human anymore. Then, in the most unexpected twist, he becomes king. Think about that. Out of everyone, Jon, Sansa, Daenerys, Tyrion, the person who showed the least desire for power ends up with the throne. But what if that's exactly why he got it? Who has a better story than Bran the Broken? Tyrion asks. And everyone agrees. But here's the thing. That line isn't just poetic. It's manipulative. It's as if the story itself was written to make us believe Bran deserved the crown. Maybe Bran didn't want power in the traditional sense. Maybe he wanted control. Knowledge is power after all, and Bran had all of it. He knew what everyone would do, what choices they would make, what deaths had to happen to reach this point. Did he let Daenerys burn King's Landing so she could fall, clearing his path to rule? Did he let Jon live only to exile him and remove the last Targaryen threat? When he says, "Why do you think I came all this way at the council?" It's not humble. It's chilling. It's the line of someone who's been waiting for this. And what happens after he's crowned? Bran immediately sends Jon away, dismantles the old power structures, and creates a new world with him at the center. A god king ruling through calm detachment. He's no tyrant of fire or shadow. He's something far more unsettling. A ruler without emotion, beyond guilt or mercy. That's not peace, that's quiet domination. Now, of course, some fans see Bran as a symbol of balance, a necessary guardian of history. The idea is that someone who's seen all of human suffering is the only one fit to prevent it from happening again. Maybe that's true, but if you look closer, Game of Thrones has always warned us about absolute power. From Aerys to Cersei to Daenerys, anyone who believed they had divine right to rule was eventually destroyed by their own certainty. Bran's certainty is simply colder, subtler, and infinitely more dangerous. The irony is, Bran's rise fulfills the same pattern of tragedy that defined Valyria, Targaryens, and Lannisters alike. Hubris disguised as destiny. He didn't conquer Westeros with dragons or armies, he conquered it with silence, with inevitability, with manipulation wrapped in wisdom. That's not heroism, that's control at the highest level. And maybe that's what makes this theory so haunting, because if Bran truly guided everything, from Hodor's death to Daenerys' madness, then he isn't a bystander of history, he is history. Every death, every betrayal, every heartbreak, all pieces in a puzzle he assembled long before anyone realized it. So when you re-watch the final scene, and you see Bran being wheeled into the throne room with that blank, knowing expression, ask yourself this: is that the face of peace or the face of victory? If you enjoyed this theory breakdown, hit that like button, share it with another Game of Thrones fan, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to know what you think. Was Bran the true villain of Game of Thrones, or was he simply the last piece of destiny falling into place? Either way, one thing's for sure. In the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. But Bran Stark, he simply watched, and in the end, he won it all. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, thank you for watching, and peace.